Age-appropriate sex education, a guide for parents. Hello everyone, I am Okoye, the founder, Global Initiative for Proper Parenting, a teens coach, a parenting coach, and a guidance counselor. Welcome to my channel, Parenting Issues. Okay, today we are going to talk about age-appropriate sex education, a guide for parents. Now, the first question I want to ask, have you started sex educating your children? This may sound funny, but then it is what it is. The world is going haywire because even when you don't want to talk about it to your children, everything tries to force it down their throat. So many times I get questions from parents like, at what age am I supposed to teach my children sex education? How do I start and all that? And that is the reason for this video, to enlighten you to know how and when to start sex educating your children. Now, those set of people asking me how and when, they are better. We have this other set of people who do not even believe that it's good to teach children anything about sex education. They feel they are corrupting the children, or we are encouraging them to corrupt the children. These are the over-religious people. Meanwhile, their children are being abused sexually in all ramifications. You know, sexual abuse is not just about the physical touch and penetration and all that. No, they can be abused by exposing the genitals of an adult. Even them children, they abuse themselves. So a whole lot in that conversation when it comes to sex education. But I don't want this video to be too long, so I want to make it as short as possible so that I will just grab the information we need to get. So before I go into age-appropriate sex education, let me first of all tell you the importance of sex education. The major importance of sex education is to enlighten and empower our children. When the children have the right information, cases of sexual abuses will be reduced, because when a child knows the body boundaries, the consent and all that, the child will not fall prey to some of the lies and myths that abusers bring up to them. The child will learn to speak out, because most abusers will tell them, if you tell your parents, I will kill them, I will kill you, I will deal with you, I will do this, I will do that. So your children should know that. Then, talking about the right information, which is the most important reason why you should teach your child sex education. Another thing is to prevent sexual abuse on the children. A lot of children from 1 year, 2 years are being abused sexually by adults and even the caregivers. So you need to empower your child. Then another important reason is that it helps the child to practice safety and avoid risky lifestyle, because believe it or not, HIV is here with us. A lot of people are living with it and they are distributing it everywhere. There are lots of sexually transmitted diseases out there. So your child needs to have the proper information to avoid risky sexual behaviors. A lot of our teenagers are going down with HIV and other chronic sexually transmitted infections. This is not good at all. So we parents, we need to do better. Now, how can we sex educate our children? At what age are we supposed to start? Before now, I used to say from 2 years, but the way things are going now, 2 years is even late. So I say immediately a child is born, sex education starts. Are you wondering how? Yeah, funny as it may sound, that is a reality. Now, how do you start sex educating a child who is just maybe a day old? And someone will be like, Ma, how do you do that? So now, sex education starts with open communication. By making yourself available, that's where it starts. Number one, you need to have this open communication with your children. You need to start building friendship, not friendship as a relationship, but you're building friendship as a tool, a powerful tool you are going to use in parenting. Now, for a day-old child, let me use that, a day-old child, you need to start with some of them, maybe you are breastfeeding them. This is mainly for the mothers. You are breastfeeding the child and the child is not on any diaper. Most times they tend to touch their genitals. So when they do that, just gently remove their hands from there and say, No, 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 no. This not good. This not good. Keep saying it. Don't think they're not hearing. They are hearing. So you have started sex educating at that point. Now, there are different stages of sex education. I'm going to run them quickly, stage by stage. The first stage is from birth to 2 years. What are you supposed to teach at that point? At that point, you are supposed to teach body parts. Let the children know the names of each body part. Don't use some of the slangs we use, wee, pee pee, and all that. No. You need to use the appropriate names for each of the body parts. The child should know that. Then when the child knows that, you now tell the child, when someone tries to touch this part, this part, this part, mentioning their names. When someone tries to touch them, speak out, shout, scream. Do not allow that, and come and tell me about that. If it's happening in the school, go and tell your teacher about that. That is very, very important. It will save the child a whole lot when it comes to sexual abuses. Now, if you have seen children who have gone through lots of sexual abuses, even if it's once, the trauma is so much, it leads them all through adulthood. Some of them are having problems in marriages today because of the sexual abuses they encountered while they were growing up. Some of them have problems with academics, career, decision making, concentration, a whole lot. I'm not talking about the sexually transmitted diseases that will be passed to these children. So that is why you need to let your children know about that. It will be so painful that at 2 years, someone has already abused your child because you did not do what you're supposed to do. So I love prevention a lot more than damage control. It's because of prevention that is the reason I am making this video, because prevention is much more better than damage control. So don't allow yourself or your children to be in that situation of damage control. Try to solve it by preventing such from happening. So that's it with from birth to 2 years. Then the next stage is 3 to 5 years. At this point, because you have talked about the body parts while the child was from birth to 2 years, it will be easier for you to talk about this particular stage. This is where you talk about boundaries and consent. Let your child know that his or her body is his or her body. That is, my body is my body. I have the right to allow anything come into the body, and I have the right to say no. So let nobody talk them into accepting what is abnormal or what is not proper. So your child should learn body boundaries and know when to tell someone, hey, stop. At that age, some of them abuse themselves. We call it abuse because they're not yet 18 years. So as long as they're not 18 years, there is nothing like consent. Some people will be like, oh, a child of 13 years, she's following men. She does not know what consent is all about. So as long as she does not know what consent is all about, she is a victim. There's nothing like, oh, she's enjoying it or he's enjoying it. No, there is no enjoyment there. As long as that child is not up to 18, that child is just a victim of ignorance. So you need to teach your children about boundaries and consent. Let them learn to stand their ground and shout and say no to any inappropriate touchings on their bodies. Now, children can be groomed even through the eyes, through the tongue. So there are many ways they can groom the children. Now the internet is there. Someone can snap his or her private part and show the child. So when this child learns about body boundaries and consent, it helps the child. Remember, you have already told the children the different body parts. You have already told the children the areas that no one is a no-no. Nobody should touch those areas. This includes kissing on the lips. Yes, let your children know that. Even some of them can even on the palms. The way they'll touch the palms, like it can arouse a child. So these are the things you need to tell your child. Whenever someone is doing that, that's a red flag, and the child should be open to tell you. Have you seen why communication cannot be overemphasized as long as parenting is concerned? Because when you listen without being judgmental, that is when your child can be free to come to you to talk to you about Mr. A or Mrs. B who tried to touch them or looked at them in in an inappropriate way or immoral way, or touch them in a way they're not comfortable with. Now, you also tell them when someone starts saying things they are not comfortable with, or touching them, or doing some gestures they are not comfortable with, they should tell the person, no, I don't like this. Not just telling the person, they should let you know about it so that you can handle that issue. And the next stage is 6 to 8 years. At this age, you need to introduce puberty. You need to start telling the child about puberty, what the child should expect in puberty. Let me start with the girls. The child should know that for the girls, all the things that should come up, the period, the development of breast, the sexual urge, yeah, it comes both for the boys and the girls. It's increased as they are moving towards puberty. So tell them that these things are normal, is natural. It means that they are growing normal. Like for the boys, the bars, the development of beards, the nocturnal emission, they will start releasing semen, the erection, and all that and all that. So these are the things you need to tell them. You passed through them as a parent, so you need to tell your children about it. Daddies, please do not leave all this for the mommies. Come into this conversation. Call your sons and tell them what to expect as they are growing up as men. A lot of our boys are going into things that are not good, things like rape. This is not a good time. It's not good at all. So let us try to tell our children, our boys, our girls, that it's not everything you feel like eating that you can eat. There are things you feel like eating, you crave for it, but you will tell yourself, no, I cannot steal to take this. So when you go to rape someone, you are stealing to take that, and you are hurting someone, you're also bringing nemesis to yourself, because I believe in nemesis. Yeah, I don't know about you. I believe in nemesis. So by the time the child gets to 9 to 12 years, you provide more details about puberty. You provide more details based on what you've done before. You continue. Is very, very important. Now, by the time your child gets to teenage years, this is the time you discuss healthy relationship and encourage abstinence. Yeah, you need to encourage abstinence, especially for those of them in a mixed school, I mean co-educational schools, the one we normally call boys and girls. So tell them it's cool to talk with opposite gender, relate with them, but that it is not cool to start having sexual relationship with such people, or have this one person that you are so attached to. So if you have not read my book, Between Love, Infatuation and My Identity, is displayed on the screen right now. If you've not gotten that book, please make sure you get that book for your child. At this age, from 12 years, your child should read that book. It will help you in your conversation when it comes to sex education. I wrote a whole lot of things about identity and ways to manage these emotions when it comes to opposite gender. So make sure you get that book. Place your order now, and we deliver anywhere in the world. The book is displayed right here on the screen. Now, how do you approach sex education? Create open and non-judgmental communication. Like I said, use everyday activity to teach. It's not a one-off thing. It's something you do today. You keep building on what you have started. For every story you see, use it to add more to what you have taught. Storytelling is a powerful tool in parenting. My mom used storytelling and it really helped me a lot. I am still using storytelling in my parenting, and it's helping me and my kids. So use storytelling for every activity you see. You make use of every activity and experience to enlighten these children more on the need for boundary setting, healthy relationship, abstinence, and all that. This will help us to raise up children who are morally sound, children who have self-control, children who have self-discipline when it comes to the issue of sex. So if you do what you're supposed to do properly, there is no topic when it comes to sex that the children will not be free to discuss with you. Now, let me sound this as a warning. Sex educating your children does not mean you need to be that explicit and explain everything that happens in sexual intercourse. No, that's not what I mean. You use the age appropriate words. Teach them sex education in a moral and chaste way. It's not about explaining, being explicit. No, you need to be morally sound when teaching them. And some of this is when you're saying them, you are not laughing, you are serious, you are firm. You are very firm, you are serious when talking about it so that they'll know how serious this issue is. Now, you need to be a source of information when it comes to sex. Your children should see you as that point of contact when they have any confusing issues when it comes to conversations about sex. So you need the right information. There are books I wrote. I am displaying them right now. They are being displayed right now on the screen. Parenting Issues, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I wrote how you can train your children, teach them sex education at every stage of their development. So you need to get the right information to be able to disseminate this information to your children. These are very important things you need to do as a parent in this 21st century because it's getting tougher by the day. When we see the things happening, we kind of get scared, but with the right information, it will be easier and better for you and your children. It's still me, your parenting expert and guidance counselor, Okoye. I am open for counseling sessions, virtual counseling sessions. So if you have any problem at all and you need to talk to a counselor, I am here for you. So
Thank you.
Goodbye.